Hello and welcome to the Society of Women Engineers Archives. SWE recently wrapped up its SWE 25 annual conference where it presented awards to so many talented women working to solve the world's problems. And that got me to thinking about SWE's very first Achievement Award recipient. Way back in 1952, the Society awarded its first Achievement Award to Maria Telkish, a pioneer in solar energy. Her research was really swimming against the tide of the atomic age and growing interest in nuclear energy in the 1950s. But solar energy gained renewed interest in the 1970s, when increased energy consumption collided with geopolitical unrest, reduced oil and natural gas production and embargoes, a sluggish economy, and growing concern for the state of the environment. You probably read a number of articles about the impending energy crisis during the 1970s, she told Vice President Carolyn Phillips in a 1972 letter. Telkish had recently moved to the University of Delaware's Institute of Energy Conversion, and further explained in her letter that, quote, "The aim of our project here is to substitute the clean energy of the sun for at least some of the polluting fuels." 5 years later, Telkish reached out to SWE again, telling newsletter editor Barbara Crone in a 1977 letter that, "It is 25 years ago that I received the SWE's Achievement Award, when the use of solar energy was almost unthinkable. Now it has grown to a $300 million research and development activity funded by ERDA. That's the Federal Energy Research and Development Administration. She saw promise for women's career prospects in solar energy research and development, but others worried that the economic recession caused by the energy crisis would push women out of the field. In February 1974, the SWE New York section hosted a lecture by women's rights activist and the feminine mystique author Betty Friedan about the energy crisis and its impact on the women's movement. And by some measures, things were going great for women in engineering. At the beginning of the 1970s, women received less than 1% of engineering bachelor's degrees in the United States. But by the end of the decade, women were earning 9% of bachelor's degrees in engineering, which at the time was just astronomical progress. But despite that progress, Dr. Eleanor Baum was worried. She was an electrical engineering professor at the Pratt Institute and a future SWE Upward Mobility Award recipient. And after attending Betty Friedan's 1974 lecture, Baum wrote in the New York section's newsletter that, quote, "I very much share her concern that women, the last hired, will be the first fired as the energy crunch forces layoffs." Across the country, environmental and the energy crises weighed heavily on SWE Los Angeles section chairman Roberta Nichols. However, she argued in the section's November 1975 newsletter that with advocacy from engineers and scientists, and with the government support and research funding, these crises could inspire new innovations in alternative energy sources. She explained that, quote, "Engineers are problem solvers, and while this is one huge problem, it is our challenge for the future and our chance to show that technology really does enhance our lives rather than destroying our planet Earth." Nichols took up the challenge herself, spending the next several decades developing and promoting alternative fuels at Ford Motor Company, work that was recognized with the SWE Achievement Award in 1988. In the wake of continued oil shortages, as well as the accident at the 3 Mile Island nuclear facility and the closure of several other nuclear facilities, in 1979, SWE joined 19 other professional engineering societies in a statement calling on the United States to commit to achieving energy independence and increasing investment and research in diversified engineering sources. And reflecting on the profession's expertise and interest in federal energy policy, in 1980, the SWE newsletter reprinted a questionnaire from the National Society of Professional Engineers, asking the 1980 U.S. presidential candidates to explain, among other things, how they would prioritize and facilitate the development of domestic energy sources. All these years later, we're still thinking about and debating how we get the energy that powers our daily lives and the impact that doing so has on our environment. SWE hopes to inspire the next generation of women engineers to solve the world's challenges. You can learn more about Maria Telkisch's pioneering career in solar energy in the Conference 2019 issue of SWE magazine. And you can learn more about how SWE and its members thought about their roles in solving the energy crunch in my Scrapbook article, Innovation and Opportunity in Crisis, published in the December 2025 issue of the award-winning SWE magazine. You can find both articles at magazine.swe.org.